A mother's heart never truly gives up on her child, even when everyone else does, even when years pass without a phone call, even when hope becomes painful. This is the story of Michael, a young Nigerian man whose family sacrificed everything to send him to United States of America. But shortly after arriving, he disappeared. For 8 long years, his village believed he had abandoned them.
His father died disappointed. His mother became the subject of endless gossip. But nobody knew the truth. And when the truth finally arrived, it changed everything. Welcome to Lumenveil Stories. Let's begin. The cemetery was unusually quiet. Only the sound of distant birds could be heard as people slowly walked away from a freshly dug grave. Inside that grave lay Mr. Okoro, a respected farmer, a loving husband, a proud father. Standing beside the grave was his wife, Mama Grace. Tears rolled silently down her cheeks, not only because she had lost her husband, but because she knew what had broken him. For years he had waited for one thing, one phone call, one message, one sign from his son. But it never came. As people left the cemetery, whispers followed. America changed that boy. He forgot his family. He abandoned his parents. 8 years and nothing. Mama Grace heard every word, but she remained silent, because unlike everyone else, she still believed Michael was alive. Years earlier, Michael had been the pride of the community. Brilliant, polite, hardworking. His teachers often said he was destined for greatness. Whenever visitors came to the village, Michael was the boy they pointed at. That one will go far. And eventually, he did. After graduating with excellent grades, Michael received an opportunity to continue his education in America. The news spread quickly. The entire village celebrated. People danced. Relatives congratulated his parents. Everyone believed a better future had finally arrived. But there was one major obstacle: money. The family simply could not afford it. Still, his parents refused to give up. His father sold farmland. His mother sold her jewelry. They sold livestock, borrowed money, decided donations, and after months of sacrifice, they raised enough. Everything they owned was invested into Michael's future. The first months in America were exciting. Michael called regularly. He sounded happy, optimistic, hopeful. He shared pictures of New York streets, university buildings, snow-covered roads. His family couldn't stop smiling. Every phone call felt like proof that their sacrifices had been worth it. Then one evening, Michael called unexpectedly. His voice sounded different, tired, worried. His mother noticed immediately. "Is everything okay?" There was a pause, then he forced a laugh. "Everything is fine, Mama." But it wasn't. That was the last time they ever heard his voice. Only weeks later, everything collapsed. The man who had promised to help Michael settle in America disappeared, along with most of Michael's money. His accommodation vanished. His support system vanished. Within days, Michael was homeless. At first, he believed he could solve the problem quickly, but every solution created another problem. Finding work was difficult. Paying rent became impossible. His immigration situation became complicated. Soon, he was sleeping in shelters, working temporary jobs, skipping meals, trying desperately to survive. Each day became a battle, and every day he told himself, "I'll call home after I fix things." But things never improved. Back in Nigeria, months became years. At first, his family remained hopeful, then concerned, then frightened. People began talking. Some claimed Michael had found wealth and forgotten his roots. Others believed he was ashamed of his poor family. The gossip became endless. His father suffered the most. Every evening he sat outside waiting, hoping, watching the road, listening for news. But none came. Slowly the waiting broke him. Meanwhile, Michael was living a nightmare. He worked construction during the day, cleaned offices at night, delivered food on weekends. Some days he worked 3 jobs, yet he barely survived. He often slept only a few hours. There were nights he cried alone, not because of the suffering, but because he missed home. He missed his mother's cooking, his father's advice,
the laughter of the village. But shame controlled him. How could he admit that America had not become the dream everyone expected? So he kept fighting, alone. Then something unexpected happened. One evening, while working at a convenience store, armed robbers entered. The situation became violent. Michael witnessed everything. Police arrived. Investigations began. Because he was an important witness, his life suddenly became complicated. He was relocated several times. Legal processes followed. Years passed. And every year, communication became more difficult. By the time stability finally returned, too much time had passed. He no longer knew how to explain 8 years of silence. Back in Nigeria, Mr. Okoro's health continued to decline. One evening, he called his wife to sit beside him. His voice was weak, but calm. "Michael is alive." His wife looked surprised. "How do you know?" He smiled faintly. "Because a son like that does not abandon his family." Those were among the final words he spoke. Days later, he passed away. The village believed he died heartbroken. Perhaps they were right. 2 months after the funeral, a vehicle entered the village. Out stepped a young American woman. Nobody recognized her. People watched curiously. She asked one question: "Where can I find Mama Grace?" Within minutes, the entire village knew a stranger had arrived. The woman carried a small suitcase, several documents, and a sealed envelope. Inside Mama Grace's house, the woman introduced herself. "My name is Sarah." Tears filled her eyes immediately. "I was Michael's friend." The room fell silent. Mama Grace stopped breathing for a moment. After 8 years, someone finally knew her son. Sarah slowly handed over an envelope. Written on the front were the words, "For Mama." With trembling hands, Mama Grace opened it. Inside was Michael's letter. As she began reading, tears streamed down her face. Michael explained everything. The scam, the homelessness, the struggle, the shame, the loneliness. He admitted he wanted to call thousands of times, but every year that passed made it harder. He believed his family deserved success, not stories of failure. Then Sarah revealed something nobody expected. Michael had been secretly saving money for years. Every extra dollar, every sacrifice, every overtime shift. He had carefully invested and saved. He planned to return home. He planned to rebuild everything. He planned to surprise his family, but fate intervened. 2 months earlier, Michael died in a road accident. The room went silent. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Mama Grace collapsed into tears. Her son had never abandoned her, not for one day. Sarah then opened the suitcase. Inside were documents, property papers, bank records, education funds. Michael had already paid for a new house to be built for his mother. He had also created a fund for his younger sister's education. Everything had been prepared. Everything. Even though he knew he had suffered, even though he had spent years struggling, he never stopped thinking about home, never stopped loving his family, never stopped trying. News spread quickly. The entire village learned the truth. People who once mocked him felt ashamed. Those who called him selfish became silent. The same villagers who claimed America had changed him now spoke his name with respect. For the first time in 8 years, Michael's story was finally understood. Life taught the village powerful lessons. Never judge a person's silence without knowing their battle. Not every absence is abandonment. Not every failure is visible. And not every sacrifice receives recognition while the person is alive. Michael's greatest tragedy was not that he struggled in America. It was that the people he loved most never got the chance to hear his side of the story. Yet even in death, his love returned home. And finally, the truth did too. If this story touched your heart, tell us in the comments. Do you think Michael should have told his family the truth from the beginning? And if you enjoy emotional African stories filled with suspense, life lessons, shocking twists, and unforgettable endings, subscribe to Lumenveil Stories. Because behind every silence, there is often a story nobody knows.